Right, team, finally back at it with a video here in the homemade studio. It's been a pretty flat out few weeks and weekends, getting work done, getting coursework done, bit of everything really, but finally had the time to sit down and get this video done. Got my muscle cup of tea here to help us along, but just a quick one today. It was sort of a topic that I've thrown around from a few different angles, but it was a chapter from St. Francis de Sales, Intro to the Devout Life, which I thought was quite pointed for a lot of the stuff that I've been talking about on the channel, and with various themes of like discernment and dating as well. So I thought I'd read this out to you guys and then give my 2 cents at the end of it. So I've cut out a bit of the chapter. It's very short, but you'll get the point soon. So, we are too apt to be like a sickly woman, craving ripe cherries in autumn and grapes in spring. I can never think it well for one whose vocation is clear, to waste time in wishing for some different manner of life than that which is adapted to his duty, or practices unsuitable to his present position. It is mere idling, and will make him slack in his needful work. We ought not to desire ways of serving God which he does not open to us, but rather desire to use what we have rightly. Of course, I mean by this real earnest desires, not just superficial wishes, which don't do much harm if not frequently indulged. Do not desire crosses unless you have borne those already laid upon you well. It is an abuse to long after martyrdom while unable to bear an insult patiently. The enemy of souls often inspires men with ardent desires for unattainable things, in order to divert their attention from present duties, which would be profitable, however trifling in themselves. We are apt to fight African monsters in imagination, while we let very petty foes vanquish us in reality, for want of due heed, or want of attention. Too great a variety and quantity of food loads the stomach and spoils the digestion. Do not overload your soul with innumerable longings, either worldly, for that were destruction, or even spiritual, for these will only cumber you. So he's making a fantastic point, and I think everyone has some experience of this, where they're daydreaming or thinking about something heaps, like whether it be a relationship or work or goals in the gym. I know that there was a time in my life where I wouldn't be able to fall asleep because I'd just be thinking about the bench press and my technique while doing that lift. So that was actually a legit, genuine thing for me. But when you're constantly thinking about these things, and it's like a fretting, an anxiety, something that you're just overly thinking about, like you do not need to pay that much attention to it. Or obviously it could be a worry as well, but God is found in the present, not in the future. So when we spend all of this time fantasizing and dreaming and imagining, or thinking about what could have been the case, it draws us away from the duty that's in front of us and the responsibility that's in front of us. And I think right at the start he says we ought not to desire ways of serving God which he does not open to us. So I think what people fail to understand is, like, sometimes this can come in the appearance of really good things, like for example dating and marriage when you're not quite in the position to do so, priesthood when you haven't even finished school so you can't join seminary, or maybe some other form of ministry or work that God is calling to you that just might not be open to you. And I was talking about the example before, when I made the decision to come to Australia and study. That might have been, I want to say it was around April of one year, or possibly even earlier, February or March. And the academic year was obviously starting in what would have been 10 or 11 months. And obviously it was a huge move for me, and that was exciting and all of that. And I don't want to diminish that in any way. But at the same time, at that stage, I knew exactly what I was going to be doing for the next 11 months. And that was the work in front of me, and that was the career in front of me, and that was the business in front of me, and that was the duties and responsibilities in front of me. So that was my number one focus and my number one priority. And the ability to recognize that and being aware of your stage in life and your stage in vocation is something really important for us to be able to commit to what's in front of us. Because when we lack clarity in that, or when we're constantly spending time idly thinking about these things, or being worried or being flooded with uncertainty, it detracts from that present moment, and it detracts from our ability to fulfill that responsibility in front of us. Now, I wanted to add a little nuance. St. Francis de Sales is not saying to not chase after great ambitions. He's saying, make these ambitions practical things that are actually open to you. Like, I'm not going to be dreaming about what I'd do if I had $1 million or $1 billion and all the good I could achieve with that money, when I'm not making anywhere near that, and I don't have that saved in my bank account, and I don't even have the means of earning that kind of money yet. It's such a far off goal. It's such a far off idea. It's completely pointless for me to be thinking about that. I need to be thinking about, okay, well, how can I get to 10K a month with this idea, or with this business, or with this kind of job? Like, what am I going to do to get to that first step on the ladder? And what are other things that I can do that are not necessarily financially related to get me in a better position to achieve that? That top tier number one goal, it might be something that I briefly think about, but in reality, and I mean in the reality of my day-to-day, it has absolutely no significance. So make them practical things that are actually open to you, and select ones that are good and meaningful. Don't constantly switch or get pulled in by the currents. God is found in the present moment and in deep, purposeful action. The greatest of saints sanctified the most lowly of duties and roles. And that's all we need, guys. And I think it's a good one to put on the fridge, but God is found in the dishes. God is found in the present moment. God is found in the love and obedience and service that you bring to every single moment in the present day, the way that you're able to do that in your life. So yeah, that's pretty much it. My last point was that I think social media doesn't help us, in the sense that we're exposed to a lot of different lifestyles and different people and different ideas of things that most of the time we can't really do or apply and stuff. So I think a helpful tip here would be to avoid. Social media is great for getting inspiration and getting affirmation for the right kinds of things, but I think often it doesn't actually have that effect, in the sense that we're just bombarded with way too many things, and things that aren't helpful for us to be viewing, that detract from us in that present moment again. So, hopefully you guys found that helpful. I was coming up short for ideas for this video, so definitely send some other ones through. I'm currently working on a course for the platform Fit Battalion, which is sort of a Catholic fitness-based online community. So I'm just finishing writing that up, and we'll be recording June 7th, but that's going to draw in various ideas about being fit for the kingdom, integrating body, mind, and soul, and I guess how to approach all of these things as men, because it's very easy to be told what not to do and what to do. But in terms of like getting yourself to that point where Aristotle says, when you begin to will the good, there's a huge gap between purely just knowing what's right and wrong, and then actually knowing how to start implementing that into your life and living it in a successful way, in the sense where it's not just a discipline or a habit that you hold for 7 days and then drop off again, but where you can make real, lasting, and meaningful changes in your life. All right, team, have a good one. We'll talk soon. God bless.